What up, YouTube? This is Mr. Willis, and you're about to be woken up, Mr. Willis. Yeah, I got another little current thing I want to talk about. Tory Lanez talking about a little bit of accountability for the taking the accountability for the wrong things too and the right things. How about that? But yeah, and talk about snitching. You know, why we as a black community gotta accept that as a culture. Like, nah, snitching is a thing. Why we gotta accept jail? Like, just I'm gonna get into this video and then I'm gonna explain after this. So check me out. Check me out. Now, this is the Grits and Ed podcast, and we finna get into something.
But the behaviors, a lot of the behaviors that we adopt stem directly from prison, right? If we're the most over policed community, disproportionately thrown into prison, that means we have a constant influx and flow of men coming home from jail and going into the jail. If these men come home and they have respect and they become an OG or a leader, because we look at going to prison as some stripe when you're in the streets and shit like that. I'm just strictly talking about the streets. The ways and behaviors of those young men that are now in the streets, listen to them, are the ways and behaviors of a prisoner. So they're adopting convict behavior, which subconsciously prepares you to become a convict. So when the prison influences the streets, and the street has such an influence on civilians, then we have civilians adopting the ways of convicts. Now, one glaring thing that we always want to talk about is the sagging of.
And that's what I wanted to say, like, touch on, like, why black culture gotta be convict culture. Like, why we gotta adopt hip hop culture gotta be convict culture. Black culture gotta be convict culture type. Like, and we gotta adopt this a stereotype type of thing. Like, why we gotta that to me that's crazy, and that's why I'm speaking on Tory Lanez real quick. Like, he's a rapper from or a singer slash rapper from Canada, and he gotta adopt this jailhouse type of culture of not snitching. When in the beginning, he should have told the truth. And it's like, why we as a black culture gotta adopt this when we're not criminals, but we gotta adopt this criminal mentality and abide by these rules. So let him cook a little more.
That's right. Fuck what it means. Influence came directly from the prison to the streets, from the streets to the civilian. That's just one example of many. We also have to talk about mindset. Mindset, this also will create a lot of DL brothers, right? Mm-hmm. The mindset is I'm a top, I'm not gay, because black men are not allowed to be bisexual. Black men are either gay or they're straight, right? Yeah. So we have to think about the role that the prison industrial complex plays on the everyday black civilian when we're influenced by the street and the street is influenced by prison. Subconsciously, you're preparing yourself to be a prisoner, to be a convict. Young Thug calling Kid Cudi a rat is an example of this. Like, I don't really have much to say about Young Thug either way. He just beat a RICO case, or didn't beat, but 15-year probation from a RICO case, which they ain't even give John Gotti that. So, but the audacity to call Kid Cudi a rat when everybody in your case snitched, except for like a handful. The majority of those.
And then, like, with Kid Cudi, he's not a street person, so he's a civilian. So why he can't tell the truth? That's what I just don't understand. And then we let people like Young Thug, like, stamp our culture or stamp what our culture's supposed to be. Like, who the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we make rappers and like, they the culture when they run around killing each other, like killing our people. Like make it make sense. Just make it make sense. So, all this, it doesn't make sense what we adopt as what is our black culture. And we gotta, I believe that this started back in the 90s, like when Naughty by Nature with that. They started that snitches get stitches type thing, like, and we had just started adapting this, like regular citizens adapted. Like, this is criminal culture. Like, If you're a criminal, if you robbing and stealing, you in prison, yeah, okay, that's how the life you living. You know what I mean? If you really stamped it in gang banging and living that life, okay, that's what it is. But then at the end of the day, they all still snitch on themselves, snitching on each other. They go to jail and they snitch at the last minute. Instead of like saying, I'm not a part of this situation. Like, you don't put me in it, so speak up and don't put me in it. Like, accountability for your actions, what you would do, because that's what type of dude I was. If I did something and they take us all in for what I did, I'm gonna be like, oh, they weren't a part of it. I did this. This was my own bull. This is what I did. And that's why back in those type of days, I wrote solo. Because I'm only me gonna be accountable for what I do. Like, stand 10 toes of what you about. You know? So, but if you're not living that standing 10 toes, then why are you a part of it? Because you're gonna tell anyone. It's a lot of real dudes that didn't tell, that's down for a long time for that. You know, and then you sitting right next to the snitch. Like, our black community, we need to wake up and stop adopting criminal ways. That's not our culture. You know what I mean? We let the gangster rap been, that was sent to the community like crack was sent to the community by the same people to destroy our community. And we're the only one advised about that not snitching. Like, Hispanic people don't, like, we the only ones, like, you ain't even living that lifestyle, but you want to abide by these certain myths. Because the streets is a myth. They are. I've been through and I lived them. When all these dudes just lie and steal on and kill each other, snitch on each other. Only what loyalty? Loyalty is a myth. That's why they got like politicking is another word for politician. Like, wake up, people. We the only ones accepting this BS and then dying behind it. And that's why I was speaking like with Tory Lanez. Like, Tory, if you didn't do it, you should have been said it. Like, even now you could say you didn't do it, you know? Tell the truth. Who did it? Point them out. Point them out and let them speak up. That's more gangster than keeping your mouth closed. Stand up 10 toes and be like, yeah, nigga, you know you did it. Say you did it. Like, that's the type of dude I was like, nah, I'm not going down for you. Like, me, especially if we gonna go to jail. Oh yeah, you about to die in there. You think I'm finna do 25 years for you? You gonna die for that? Like, nah, not me. And it's like, why we gotta adopt criminal? Like, that's for the criminals. And that's why our whole culture could be labeled. They try to label us as thieves and criminals. Because we let them label us. We let the degenerate ones label our culture. You know, like, you know, and that's just my point on this one. Like, that rule is crazy. Non-snitching is for criminals. And we are not like that. Like, that's not us. You know, shout out to Grits in that podcast because, you know, some things he say I really, really cold hard agree with. And some things I don't agree with. But on this one, I totally agree with, like, why we gotta adopt as a community, like, stereotypes like that, like, and we wear them like a badge of honor. You know, we need to just wake the fuck up. How about that? This is Mr. Willis. That's why I label my waking up with Mr. Willis. You don't like what I'm saying? I don't care. But we need to wake up as a culture, as a people. And we adopt all these dumb rules and let people, these cowards basically, see how they are? Because most of them don't move by themselves or solo. They move in groups and then want to politic what is this and what is that. Man, most of them is cowards hiding behind each other, behind lies and fake loyalty and secrets when they really the ones taking each other out behind the scenes. If you know, you know. Because I know. You know what I mean? So the streets are a myth. Loyalty is a myth. And all of them move off greed and money and capitalizing over each other. You know what I mean? Streets is a myth. That's my take on it. And then as a black culture, no, we don't gotta adapt to all these dumb stereotypes. You know what I mean? Especially you just a citizen. I'm a citizen. I don't adapt to nobody rules. And that's why I'm hated. This is Mr. Willis, and you have been awoken.